Ernest Hemingway's The Old Man and the Sea is a novella that tells the story of an old Cuban fisherman named Santiago and his epic battle with a giant marlin far out in the Gulf Stream. The story is simple but profoundly moving, exploring themes of struggle, resilience, and the dignity of human endeavor. The setting and characters novella is set in a small fishing village near Havana, Cuba, and takes place in the late 1940s. The main character is Santiago, an old and weathered fisherman who has not caught a fish in 84 days. He is a skilled and experienced fisherman, but his recent streak of bad luck has caused him to be seen as Assalam, the worst form of unlucky. Despite this, Santiago remains optimistic and determined to break his unlucky streak. Santiago's only friend is a young boy named Manolin, who has fished with him since he was 5 years old. Manolin loves and respects Santiago and cares for him, even though his parents have forbidden him to fish with the old man due to his bad luck. Manolin brings Santiago food, helps him with his fishing gear, and keeps him company. The departure in the 85th day of his unlucky streak, Santiago sets out alone in his small skiff, determined to break his bad luck. He sails far beyond the usual fishing grounds, hoping to catch a big fish. Santiago is a master of his craft, and he knows the sea and its creatures intimately. He respects the sea and its inhabitants, referring to the ocean as lo mar, a term of endearment in Spanish. As Santiago drifts far out to sea, he reflects on his life and his love for fishing. He recalls his youth, his travels, and his admiration for great fishermen like Joe DiMaggio, the baseball player. Santiago draws strength from these memories and from his deep connection to the sea. The struggle begins on the second day of his journey. Santiago's luck changes. He feels a strong pull on his line and realizes he has hooked a giant marlin. The fish is massive and powerful, and Santiago knows that he is in for a long and grueling battle. The marlin begins to tow the skiff, pulling Santiago further out to sea. Santiago respects the marlin and sees it as a worthy adversary. He talks to the fish, calling it his brother and admiring its strength and beauty. Santiago is determined to catch the marlin, not just for the valuable meat it would provide, but for the personal victory it would represent. He knows that this fish could be the one to end his unlucky streak and restore his reputation as a great fisherman. The battle at sea struggle between Santiago and the marlin lasts for 3 days and 3 nights. During this time, Santiago endures physical pain and exhaustion. His hands are cut and bleeding from holding the fishing line, and his body is racked with cramps and fatigue. Despite the pain, Santiago refuses to give up. He draws strength from his love for the sea, his memories of past battles, and his respect for the marlin. Santiago's struggle is not just physical, but also mental and spiritual. He reflects on his life, his beliefs, and his place in the world. He finds solace in the natural world, watching the stars, the birds, and the fish that swim around his skiff. He talks to himself and to the marlin, finding comfort in the sound of his own voice. As the battle continues, Santiago's admiration for the marlin grows. He sees the fish as a noble and worthy opponent, and he feels a deep kinship with it. Santiago is determined to prove his worth by catching the marlin, but he also feels a sense of sadness at the thought of killing such a magnificent creature. The third day, Santiago finally manages to bring the marlin close to the skiff. He is exhausted and in pain, but he musters all his remaining strength to harpoon the fish. The marlin is so large that it cannot fit in the skiff, so Santiago ties it alongside his boat. He is elated by his victory and feels a deep sense of pride and accomplishment. Santiago sets sail for home, dreaming of the praise and admiration he will receive for catching such a giant fish. He imagines how much the marlin will sell for and how it will restore his reputation as a great fisherman. Santiago is filled with a sense of triumph and satisfaction. The sharks at Acalva, Santiago's victory is short-lived. As he sails home, the blood from the marlin attracts sharks. The first shark to attack is a mako shark, which Santiago kills with his harpoon. But the battle with the shark leaves Santiago's hands injured and his harpoon lost. More sharks follow, and Santiago fights them off with a knife tied to an oar, then with a club, and finally with the boat's tiller. Despite his best efforts, Santiago cannot prevent the sharks from devouring the marlin. They strip the fish to its skeleton, leaving Santiago with nothing but bones. By the time he reaches the shore, there is nothing left of the marlin but its head, tail, and spine. Santiago is heartbroken, but accepts his loss with dignity and grace. The wretched Santiago returns to the village exhausted and defeated. He carries his mask back to his shack, a symbolic gesture reminiscent of Christ carrying the cross. Manolin finds Santiago in the morning and is moved to tears by the old man's suffering and perseverance. He cares for Santiago, bringing him food and comforting him. Despite his defeat, Santiago remains dignified and proud. He dreams of lions on the beaches of Africa, a symbol of his lost youth and strength. Manolin promises to fish with Santiago again, showing his unwavering faith and love for the old man. Conclusion: The Old Man and the Sea is a powerful tale of endurance, struggle, and the human spirit. Santiago's battle with the marlin is a testament to his skill, determination, and resilience. Despite his defeat, Santiago's spirit remains unbroken, and he finds solace in his connection to the natural world and in the love and respect of Manolin. Hemingway's novella is a celebration of the dignity and nobility of human endeavor, even in the face of inevitable loss and suffering.